So I know the last time I said that web.com was the worst place I ever worked at. Yeah, not not quite true. I forget I worked at Walmart. So anyway, um, working at Walmart was kind of a thing that I did um, before I got married. Just kind of a um, transitional phase going from working at web.com before I went to plumbing school. Plumbing school was a complete waste of money, by the way. So I don't know. Oh, jeez. So I don't really know why I picked Walmart when I could have just worked at the garbage dump. Um, so yeah, I applied. I got accepted into an interview, which the interview process started out as you actually get a group interview. So there is 10 of you in a room with 10 managers, and you kind of rotate around each other and they ask you questions like, what is it you like about Walmart? I'm like, well, I don't really know how to say it. I mean, I like the $5 bins. I'm not a big fan of going into bathrooms and seeing guys relieve themselves over the sink, which totally happened. Um, Not a fan of looking like a douchebag in those blue smocks that you have to wear at all times. Um, so um, I was training for the overnight position, which get you a whole extra 75 cents per hour, whoopie-de-doo. But at least you didn't have to deal with Walmart customers, which, if you remember that old website, peopleofwalmart.com, it's exactly how it looks. Yeah, so we get interviewed with a cycle of managers. They asked you what you liked about Walmart, why you wanted to work for Walmart. I'm like, well, me personally, I was really passionate about not having $0 in my bank account. They asked me what I thought my future was at Walmart. Well, to be honest, I didn't want to tell them that I wanted to get out as fast as I could, but that's how they what their expectation was. Is they showed us a bunch of these videos, these corporate cheerleading videos showing how like a girl went from working the sales floor to becoming a manager within 5 years. I'm like, if I was a manager at Walmart, I would shoot myself in the face. Um, Anyways, after that, they brought us all in a room and they hired us on as part-time employees. But there was one girl that's basically asked, I'm part-time, so do I give you my hours for my other job? And basically after that, they fired her on the spot because she had a second job. Because what they wanted to do is they wanted to hire you on for part-time hours, but basically so they didn't have to give you any benefits, but would force you to work like 40, 50 hours a week, which is definitely what happened. I had a manager named Mickey, and he was a dick. Um, maybe not Mickey, maybe it was Nicky, I can't remember. Um, yeah, and so they hired us on. We had to watch like 10 hours of corporate videos. Like basically, you can't do sexual harassment in the workplace. So yeah, you basically couldn't do anything fun. Well, no, I didn't say that. You know what I meant. You couldn't, you weren't allowed to accept tips. That is a big thing that they told us. Like, if you ever carry a TV out to some lady's car, you're not allowed to accept tips, which I 100% did when I worked the day shift during my training. Because, I mean, why wouldn't you? Now, when I first got hired, I had to work on the floor for 2 weeks, and they told me, it's like, you need to get steel toe boots. So I got steel toe boots, and I got rubber steel toe boots, and as soon as I did that, they almost pulled me off the floor saying I couldn't wear rubber boots. I'm like, I'm sorry. I wanted to wear, I wanted to dress properly, but I guess rubber boots weren't allowed. The first day at Walmart, I literally wanted to jump off a bridge because they made you do the Walmart wiggle dance, which basically, look it up online. You go to your shift, and they say, "Give me a W," and you gotta say W. Give me an A. You do all that. You go to do the WAL, and then for the hyphen, they say, "And give me a squiggle," and then they expect you to actually wiggle your butt and do a squiggle. I absolutely refused to do it, and they hauled me aside, and I was like, "No, don't care." I get reprimanded for that, but that's okay. Those 2 weeks weren't too bad, but the worst part was when you would see like people that you went to school with, and they knew how much of a failure you were at life when you started working at Walmart. So yeah, when Miss Mackenzie saw me working at Walmart, I was like, "Oh, I knew you were retired, Zedric." So yeah. Now we had one manager. Well, we'll use fake names because I don't want to get beat up, according to Tyler. But anyway, we had one manager named Michelle. She was like a super hardcore Walmart corporate cheerleader. She basically said, "Oh, we gotta give them that Walmart pride when we're doing our work." I'm like, "Just tell me what I gotta do. I'll unload all the stuff and I'll put it on the shelf. I'll be on my way." And she said, "No, you gotta take pride in your work." I'm like, "Ma'am, I am stacking kitty litter. There is no pride in this." She basically thought that every single worker was retarded. There was one guy, we'll call him Cordell. He might have actually been retarded, because all he did during the shift was he collected boxes, like cardboard boxes that you would unload stuff with, and he would put it in a bin, and then he'd walk to the back room and put it in the crusher. But then he would also take his Game Boy Advance and go to the bathroom and play on it for an hour or two. There is also a couple times when we would like drive him home, and like on the way home we would go to Tim Hortons drive-thru. It was like, "Hey man, you want anything?" Because everyone else in the car was getting like a coffee or tea, just like simple. And one time we did that, and he was like, "Hey man, give me that breakfast sandwich, extra hash browns, extra. Give me a donut on the side with extra cheese on it." So he would really had no social cues about that sort of thing. He ended up getting fired a week into it because he would leave his utility knife out in the open, and he left it on the store shelf near the food and the kids' toys. So yeah, he ended up getting fired because he was lazy and stupid. Lucky bugger. Yep. And on my first night shift, I was orientating with a guy that had the nickname of Guts. And when Michelle told me what to do, told me where to go, she walked out of the building, and then Guts looked at me and was like, "Now, it's not too much to assume that you're not actually retarded." And this is, yeah, he actually said that to me. I'm like, no, I'm good. It's like, "Okay, ignore Michelle, do what you want to do, and then keep going." Now, the actual worst part about working at Walmart was they took out the McDonald's that was in our Walmart a few years before because our Walmart didn't renew the contract with McDonald's or something else because it wasn't profitable enough. And it ended up being a storage room, which was the most depressing thing ever. So if I get to work at Walmart, I want to be able to get some chicken nuggets to kind of cope with it. Another thing, I had to do returns one day. Like I had to go down to the floor to see what stuff didn't look okay. Had to put it's we have a special town, so we had about some homeless ladies going to like the lingerie and underwear section. They would take underwear out of the package, go to the dressing room, put on the new underwear, and put their old underwear in the package, and then put it back on the shelf, like their underwear, their bras, and all that. So I had to kind of throw it out in the back. There's another couple weird things, like if a customer brought in an Xbox that wasn't working, like the controller was broken, we threw out the whole Xbox. Like it was ridiculous. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about Walmart. Don't ever work there. The absolute, you will feel degraded every day of your life. Work if you're gonna work somewhere. Work fast food. Work at Sobeys. Work anywhere else. Get an OnlyFans going. Do something, but don't work at Walmart.